Triple E EDC back again with another knife video. So this is the Benchmade Adamas family. This is not all the versions. Obviously, they come in a couple different colors, and we have a couple different versions. So we have the fixed blade Adamas, which is not pictured here. I used to have one. I think I have a video on one up. I'll see if I can remember to link it below, but that was the old D2 one. I think the Cru-Wear ones are pretty much the same. I don't think they changed the design on the fixed blade. They did, however, change the design on the new Adamas for this year in Cru-Wear. So these are all Cru-Wear versions. This is the automatic version of the full-size Adamas in Cru-Wear. This is the Mini Adamas in Cru-Wear manual, and this is the full-size manual Adamas also in Cru-Wear. Now, there were some changes to this, updated such that the handles are different. The profile is a little bit different from the prior ones. You guys may remember I have a prior video on why I sold my Benchmade Adamas. A lot of it had to do with the fact that it was a big chunky block, right? So it's a great hard use knife, but it's not necessarily the best EDC knife. That's changing actually with the introduction of the Benchmade's new Adamas family for this year. So I figured I didn't see a whole lot of videos online comparing the current lineup, but also comparing the current lineup to an older model. So we had a viewer, or somebody actually who I knew through the knife community on Facebook. It's a small community, actually. I think his son-in-law is also somebody I've traded with in the past. So he actually has an older version of the Adamas that's been customized. So Ted, thank you very much for allowing me to do this. I don't remember if you said you'd let me use your last name, so I'm not going to do that. But thank you very much for letting me borrow this and take a look at it. He did ask me to sharpen it for him while I had it, so I went ahead and did that. You may notice this is very different and very customized from the old one, and I'll tell you why it's still helpful nonetheless. So first of all, let's go ahead and take a look at this because I think it's interesting to see a customized version. So this is actually the old version of the Benchmade Adamas with the D2 steel. However, the D2 blade is nowhere to be seen. This is actually a reblade done by Josh at Razor Edge Knives. At least that's the information that I got from Ted. It looks like it's been acid washed and heavily used. He said it's his daily user. That's pretty good. Obviously, this is a Tanto. The normal version is not a Tanto, and it's been, before I got it, it was heavily sharpened, by hand. So you had a very high bevel on it. I tried to match that as best as possible with the Wicked Edge, but matching hand sharpening obviously is difficult. In any event, I think I did a pretty good job trying to match that bevel. The linen micarta here is red linen micarta scales. I don't remember where he said he got those done, but these do match the contours of the original Adamas, which is why I thought it'd be helpful for this video, because the contours on the original Adamas are different than the contours on the new Adamas. So let's go ahead and take a look at this real quick because I just think it's cool to see this version of the knife. The grind on this is actually really nice. It's got like I said, a high bevel edge. I matched it to about 15 degrees, at least on this part. I think it was a little bit higher than 15 degrees here. I'm sorry, a little bit lower than 15 degrees. It was very low edge angle. And yeah, so this is very cool. As you can see, like I said, heavily used, but well loved, which is great. This is really cool. I really like the micarta, the linen micarta on here as a handle option. It's something I would actually love to see Benchmade look at in the future, is either a canvas or linen micarta for this as an option. But I'm curious if aftermarket scales start to take off on the Adamas, on the new Adamas, now that they're a little bit more popular again. So anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the differences between the old Adamas and the new Adamas. By the way, the steel on this, I don't think Ted was sure exactly what steel was on this. I had taken it apart when I sharpened it and looked for markings, didn't see any. Okay, so anyway, let's go ahead and take a look. So we've got the full-size Adamas here, as I said. Some of the differences on the handle, as you can see on here, are the contours here. So I don't know if you can see, but this whole side right here is contoured that way a little bit. And you've got this cutout right here that's contoured, right? And also right here. And that's on both sides. Contoured right here, little contour right here, all over here. This was very blocky before. I also think the scales on this are thinner than they used to be. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, so this matched the thickness of the original Adamas. So check this out, right? You can see how much thinner this Adamas is. Let's see if I can do it on an area that doesn't have the lanyard there. Yeah, so the new Adamas is thinner. So this gets rid of a lot of the blocky feeling, not only on the squareness of the actual scales, but on the thickness of the handle. It got rid of a lot of the blockiness. So it didn't sacrifice much, if any, of the ruggedness, but made this a lot more pocket friendly, number one. Because not everybody carries it on Molly pouch. It makes it a lot more pocket friendly, but it also makes it a lot more just EDCable in general. It's a little bit lighter. It doesn't feel like so chunky. So when you're doing regular cuts and everything, you don't feel like you're carrying a brick. So yeah, I mean, this is the manual Adamas. The new manual Adamas is one of my favorite knives for this year. I've already told you guys that I thought the Mini Adamas was going to be in my top 10. I sort of view the full-size Adamas and the Mini Adamas as being, just preference on size. So, both of these will be in my top 10, but they'll only occupy one spot together. So unless something amazing comes along and knocks it out, I'm pretty confident this is going to be a year-end top 10 knife. It's just a really, really good knife, nice and rugged, can be used heavily for pretty much any task. It has nice, decently thick stock. It is very, very, it is much, much more hand-friendly, as I said now, and I really appreciate that. So that's great. If you guys are an auto lover, the Auto Adamas, the biggest difference between the Auto Adamas and the full-size manual are two things, really. One's the price. The Auto Adamas is like $80 or $100 more. It's a lot more expensive than the manual. But also, as you can see here, there's no thumb stud, where there is a thumb stud here. No thumb stud. And instead, you have the axis lock and the lock here. So when the lock is engaged, you can't deploy this, right? But when the lock is disengaged, right here, this thing kicks hard. Right, so one of the things I like about Benchmade and their automatics is their old side opening automatics aren't usually that strong with a kick, but their axis automatics have always been very strong. By the way, this year Benchmade did really improve upon it by coming out with the Benchmade Claymore. I also have a video on that, but the Claymore it really has a strong kick and a strong spring. It's their best out the side opening action, I think, of any knife in their collection. But this specific axis lock one, this thing always is at a kick, and this version, even though it's less blocky, is no different. It really has a nice kick to it, which I really appreciate. But there's not a whole lot of differences between these two right here, other than, like I said, the thumb stud and the automatic opening and the lock on the back, and then of course the price. So that's that. As far as just some differences between these versions and if you wanted to get like a reblade from REK or something. So some of the things that are different, obviously, are you have this sort of sweep up where your thumb goes, and then a spot for your thumb to rest if you want to come over top, like right here, like come over top. So it's not necessarily the same over here, where if you come over top, it's going to be uncomfortable because you don't have that thing. But what you gain is like this full sort of Medford style fuller, which I think a lot of people like aesthetically. I don't think, if I remember correctly, that it really works for side opening, mainly because the axis lock detent isn't quite tuned for that. But yes, pretty cool nonetheless. Let me do a couple size comparisons for you, just so you guys get an idea of how big these things are. I'm going to go ahead and pull the, I'll go ahead and pull this one off because they're the same size, right? So here is the Spyderco Endura. Got a little tape residue on here, sorry. I got to clean that later. Here is the, let's do the Spyderco Military. Obviously, you can see that's a big knife. The Spyderco Shaman. Let's do a Strider SMF. Let's do a Hinder XM18, although I just grabbed the skinny version. Let's do the full size. Here you go. That's a 3.5-inch version. And let's go with the Cold Steel 4 Max just to get a huge knife here. This is a 4 Max Scout. All right, actually, because this is a military knife, and a lot of military guys love their Ultratechs. Here's an Ultratech too. Okay, so what do I think overall of Benchmade's collection? Like I said, it's going to be in my top 10 for this year, for sure, unless, like I said, something blows me away. This has just been a really good rework of an older design. It really changes the way that the knife can play into the market, because it brings it from a purely military knife into an acceptable EDC knife, which I think is a huge gain and a huge thing. And the upgrade to Cru-Wear is perfect, because that rugged hard use, tough, you know, Cru-Wear is high in toughness, Cru-Wear is high in edge retention. You've got the coating here, you know, which can help against some of the stainlessness. It just is a great overall steel option. It's a great overall design, Shane Siebert design, and it's great to see the rework that Benchmade did for this. So I'm very happy with this overall. I think it fills a hole in the market that was there for something, you know, just rugged that could be EDC'd. Right, there's a lot of things out there that you could do that could do that, but Benchmade had sort of lost its traction in that market, and this brought it back. So very, very cool. Very happy with this knife, and yeah, just really happy to see you know, a real rework of a good original masterpiece. Okay, so that's pretty much it on these. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. This is leave the questions below. If you guys have any experience with the Adamas, tell me what you guys think of the new Adamas. Have you tried it out? Do you like it better than the old one? Did you buy one originally, you know, in D2 and got rid of it, and then decided you wanted to try this one and found this to be better? Did you do that and still didn't like the Adamas? Love to hear from you guys what your thoughts are. Thanks so much for watching.